Okay, hello everyone. I'm here with Trudi Richards, who is one of my closest siloist friends. And she happens to have a podcast, another podcast, and website. Her podcast is called Day of the Winged Lioness, and that's a female. And her website is wingedlion.org, and that's a lion male. Both links are in the show notes of this episode. So, hello, Trudi. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to do this today.
My pleasure entirely. So, this episode is gonna be different because we're gonna do a different ceremony. This ceremony was written by Trudi, and she has a very inspired consciousness. So they are all her writings are very, very nice, very pleasant to read, and very illuminating. And yes, they are really inspiring. So, do you want to dig into it directly?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Should
so
we
this
give a little?
is then a ceremony of peace.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to say anything about it?
Yeah. This came about, it was 2 days after the beginning of the Israel-Hamas war. And I was at my acupuncturist's, who is a dear friend and also is Jewish. And we were just both completely stricken by the situation, didn't know what to do. So then later on, I had my acupuncture treatment and I was lying there drifting along. And I had this idea that maybe I could write a ceremony for peace that he and I could do together for our respective communities. So that's how this came about. And he was very happy about the idea. And so that's what this is.
Here we are.
Yep.
Welcome to this ceremony for peace. This is a ceremony for peace of all kinds, inner and outer, personal, interpersonal, and global, because all kinds of peace connect in the human heart.
We've all had moments of personal or inner peace, no matter how rare or fleeting. Even if we seldom feel that peace in our daily lives, peace is always there in our hearts, in that still, calm place from which all life springs.
So let's start by connecting with that peace. Just for a moment, let's set aside our usual concerns as much as we can. And with our eyes either open or closed, let us simply rest our attention on our breath as we breathe slowly in and out.
By now, if you've been able to relax and just follow your breath, you're probably experiencing a deeper sense of calm and inner peace.
From this peaceful place, let's think of the people we care most about, the people we love. Let's feel our connection with them.
Sometimes close relationships can be easier, sometimes harder. But if we can feel the human in ourselves and in the other, it can become easier to understand and accept each other. So let's take a moment now to do that. Feeling our connection with our loved ones, let us silently tell them, I feel the human in me, and I feel the human in you. And they are exactly the same. In you, I recognize someone very much like me, someone with hopes and fears, with beautiful aspirations and regrets, with strengths and challenges. Even if we don't always agree or understand each other, I know that just like me, you always do the best you can at the time, even under the most difficult circumstances. And I honor and appreciate you for all the ways you contribute to my life. If I've ever hurt you, I meant you no real harm. I may have felt like I wanted you to suffer in the heat of the moment, but I was angry and didn't know what I was doing. And I know the same is true for you, that you care for me, and if you ever hurt me, it was just in the heat of the moment, and not because you wished me any real harm. Finally, if I've hurt you, I pledge that I will do whatever I can to make up for that hurt, and that I will not go down that road again.
Now, at peace with ourselves and with those close to us, let us open our horizons to include everyone around the world who is suffering from violence.
When we say violence, we are referring not only to physical violence, but to violence of all kinds: economic, racial, sexual, religious, moral, and psychological. We are speaking not only of war, but of domestic violence, of child abuse and abandonment, of all forms of sexual abuse, of human trafficking, of cruelty to animals. We are speaking of discrimination and of every hate crime, whether in the name of race, ethnicity, religion, political belief, age, gender, whom or how you love, or any other characteristic. We are speaking of the corporate exploitation of human beings and of nature, and of all abuse of power. In short, we are speaking of every cruelty imposed by the fearful in an attempt to control others, our world, and the future.
We want to end the violence in our world and bring peace. And we recognize that there may be little we can do directly on a practical level. But there is one important thing we can all do. We can ask the best of all for all those who are suffering. Together, we can go inside ourselves and ask for peace and well-being for all people, both for the victims and for the perpetrators of violence everywhere in our world.
So let us ask. In silence, let us ask with all our hearts and all our strength for an end to war and for an end to violence of every kind, everywhere in the world.
Thank you, friends. Let us all give thanks that we were able to come together today for peace. From this day on, let us make this peace our way of life. Let us always greet our friends, our neighbors, and our loved ones in peace and kindness, treating them as we would like to be treated.
In this way, carrying peace in our hearts and bringing peace to everyone we meet, we can begin to build a true and lasting peace within us, with each other, and worldwide. A peace that flows from the hearts of caring and courageous human beings everywhere.
Reading at the beginning of 2023 Israel-Hamas war, inspired by Silo's message.